So one Saturday night, I was very bored, and I figured that I would revisit The Magic of Killer Bean, which is a movie about beans that kill each other, which is kind of self-evident by the title. So hopefully this will be a interesting and entertaining rewatch. I watched it a long time ago on a similarly bored-ish night. So here's to hoping we get some entertainment out of this. So the most amazing thing about this movie is it immediately opens up with like the weirdest jingle, the weirdest like screen credits where it's like kind of flashing. It feels a little bit like a Fast and Furious opening. And then we go straight into a dancing sequence like no other. This is one of the longest dancing sequences I've ever seen. It goes on for 2 minutes and like 15 seconds. I don't understand why it had to be so long, but I guess it did. Please stop! Have mercy, please! Stop this dancing montage, please! I'm begging you! I'm begging you! And you know that they really care about audience intelligence because they don't explain anything or give you any context at all as to why this is happening. There is a dance, there's just something wrong about the clothing. So like, a lot of them have hats, and a lot of them have some kind of vest or some kind of shoes, you know, things like that. They got boots, they're like humans, but for whatever reason, they don't have pants, and only some of them have pants. Like, it's not just that whoever designed this movie decided to not give the beans pants. Whoever designed this movie gave some beans a pants, but other beans no pants at all, which...
Get your world building right, Like,
Okay,
be consistent.
also, let's just be honest, as I was like watching this super long montage, I realized that the beans kind of dance better than me, which is just not fair. Another thing too is that after the sequence, the like DJ guy picks up the phone, gets a call at 2:43 a.m. specifically. For whatever reason, they do like to tell you the time at which a scene takes place in this movie, but they don't like to tell you what day it is. So I actually don't know how many days have passed. At least 2 days must have passed in this movie. I'm guessing like 3 or 4, just because of just like the amount of death that happens in this short time span, but maybe I'm wrong. I also gotta like give props because this exposition is not like the worst exposition ever. Like, it is at least like plausible that, like, to give you time and give you knowledge, that is a plausible way to get the phone call. And then out of like, so this like conversation happens, and this guy is like, hey, turn the noise down, it's annoying me. And then the guy's like, oh, I'm gonna turn it up, and just kind of,
how's that?
Be a bad neighbor basically. And then all out of nowhere, a blue car just rams directly into it. And then bam, Killer Bean is here. And the next one, we get one of the most relatable lines ever.
When I don't get enough sleep, I get irritable. And you don't want to make me... Oh shit! Oh shit!
My brain just decided to fixate on the pants thing, but it has. They get a call, to check up on what's going on, and apparently that Cappuccino, which is the name of the gang leader, is the one who was attacked the other night, right? I also want, like, to just take a step back and realize that Cappuccino, like, they named some of the beans after, like, bean-oriented food items, and I can't tell if it's clever or not. Like, like, you have names like Killer Bean and Shadow Bean and Cappuccino, but then you have names like Vaughn, okay? We're getting to why Vaughn is important. So Vaughn comes in, and he is working for Cappuccino, and Detective Cromwell's trying to, like, bag Cappuccino, basically, because he knows that he's a bad guy. A competent assassin to have a weapon that when it fires, it literally marks who exactly it is that done it. Like, could you imagine if John Wick, like, did the same thing, like property of John Wick. If you're seeing this, you know, the bullet wasn't meant for you. I there's something about imagining all these beans as like real people that somehow make it more absurd than the bean stuff itself, which is just crazy in my opinion. But so the whole Vaughn thing happens, and Vaughn kind of confronts Detective Cromwell. I don't understand why it really happened, other than the fact that we do know that Vaughn works for Cappuccino, and to introduce Vaughn, and then to be like, oh, Cappuccino's nephew is the one that Killer Bean shot, who like turned the music up. I don't know why that's particularly important, but it felt necessary for them to explain. So I guess otherwise we'd have literally no context to what happened. But maybe we could have saved some of that by not having the 2-minute long dance scene. But then again, who am I kidding? That dance scene was kind of the best thing ever, so fast forward a little bit, and then all of a sudden we have, you know, Killer Bean waking up to all the noise of the police sirens and stuff, and he's super annoyed. He actually almost snipes Detective Cromwell through the window because he gets so annoyed, which can't possibly be a good idea. Like, if you're staying in an apartment, committing a massacre right next to it is a bit of a bold move, but killing the detective who was called on scene to investigate said massacre feels like a kind of a overconfidence, you know? I don't know. So we learn about Vaughn, and I feel like it would have totally like just blown his cover. I don't understand why they would do that, you know. And I feel like I don't want to tell him how to do his job, but I also feel like, you know, maybe he needs to take that into consideration. I also like that when he gets a phone call, it's labeled as an encrypted call. And I don't know how encrypted calls work, but like, they do, I guess. And the next scene is by far my absolute favorite scene of the show. This is when all of the baddies get together to review their, you know, crime statistics and their revenue for the month, year. I don't even know if they say what, but apparently crime currently is focused on these things, and that is narcotics, weapons, and eggs. This leads me to question exactly how that works in this universe, since they're all beings who may or may not wear pants. Is there chickens in this universe? Are they larger than the beans? Are they proportionally sized to beans and humans? Do beans eat eggs, or they use them for a different purpose that we are not privy to? What is happening? What do they use them for? I am so concerned. I've been thinking about this more than I've been thinking about the pants thing. So I need answers. Please, someone give me answers. And I also just, you know, we get introduced to Cappuccino in the scene, and he throws his like dudes out of the window. Oh! You learn that Vaughn is like the weapons department guy, and that the narcotics department just is not hitting it. Also, real talk, we never learn who is in control of the egg department. So I just have so like, sequel when are we gonna learn about the egg department of the crime boss? You know, like, I need to know what happens there. What are they doing? Why did we never get to look? Why was he not called to the meeting? You know, like, also that's another thing. There's no women beans. Like, I've been thinking about it longer, and I've like, as I've like gone through this, there's not a single female bean, like, at all. What is going on in this universe? I need to know what's happening, because I don't know what's happening. It's making me uncomfortable. Meanwhile, the detective is trying to figure out like what's going on with like the bullet casings and stuff. His buddy calls him, and his buddy's like, yeah, the shadow agency was employed by the government and all this like stuff, which I don't know why he would know, but like the detective wouldn't know, and we don't ever see this being's face. So maybe that guy is the egg guy. who's controlling the egg industry of the crime. And that would explain why he would know about the shadow agency. Because we actually don't get a reason why anyone is trying to kill Killer Bean, because we do know that eventually someone's, but we don't ever get like a good reason why. We get like a vague answer later on from Vaughn, but we never get like a good answer that like satisfies my brain. So and then so Killer Bean goes into like the bar and meets Detective Cromwell. They have a bit of like a standoff where literally the bartender guy has a gun, Killer Bean has a gun, Detective Cromwell has a gun, and it's like super tense, but like also not really. And that happens, and then so don't call this random bartender guy dramatic when you're over here pulling weapons in his shop to detectives and stuff, and he never reports it or anything. Like, guys, I don't know what's happening. We learn about like the shadow beans and stuff, and then the Killer Bean makes this like dramatic entrance, and he like really cares about dramatic entrances. He literally says dramatic entrance and then jumps through a window. Also, he has a red hoodie, and you know, he's like this like vigilante doing stuff, and it immediately invoked the Red Hood. I don't know if it'd be the Red Bean would be his new name instead of Killer Bean, Red Bean, and it's like he wears a hood and he fights his swords sometimes. Listen, I'm gonna make every video somehow about Batman media somehow, okay? It's gonna happen. Every video from now on will contain some kind of Batman thing, but honestly, I don't know for whatever reason why, but I immediately thought, why is Killer Bean so much like Jason Todd? Questions. And you know what? It's easier to project that backstory onto this character because Killer Bean doesn't get any backstory as to why he started working for the agency, what he was doing before, has he always worked for the agency, what was his childhood like. We don't get any of that. We also don't know how beans come into existence, and like I said, there's no female beans at all to speak of. I don't get it, I don't understand, don't ask why, I have no idea what's going on. And what follows is like this great action scene, although first we get like a really heavy-handed exposition from these goon beans. And then a random bad guy crashes through within a tank. And then like there's a whole squad, and then this is actually a really funny part. Killer Bean zones out through his like big speech. But also, question, just because like you draw attention to the bad exposition, does that mean suddenly you are not culpable for the bad exposition? Like, yes, it was funny, but also like I see what you did there, and it doesn't make it better or less boring. And I'm also calling like bullshit on this like weapon in this tank not tearing all the beans into little bean bits though, because like, have you seen the damage those things can do? So Killer Bean gets captured by Cappuccino, and once again, I just want to remark that he is kind of funny. And then in a complete like plot twist that I honestly, even though I watched this movie before, I did not see it coming. Killer Bean was actually sent to go after Dark Bean, which Dark Bean is Vaughn. And then he kills Cappuccino. So Vaughn kills Cappuccino after Cappuccino, like really rudely, without any warning, fires him.
Oh, by the way, Megan, you're fired! I still see your shadows.
I don't know why that was just so shocking, but yeah. So Killer Bean gets taken in and arrested, and all just like seems so sad and hopeless. And Dark Bean dies. And then Jet Bean shows up, which is just this random bean that uses and blocks bullets with his gauntlets and beats like Killer Bean really badly. He's basically Wonder Woman, Wonder Bean, I don't know. Wonder Bean! I don't know what's happening, you know. Then Killer Bean fires, and the guy blocks, you know, with the gauntlet, and then the shell breaks off and hits him, and then that's what kills him. And then Killer Bean's like, it's over, and Jet Bean literally looks at him and is like, it's not over for you. And then he dies. And the movie just like, after that pans out to a bunch of like dead beans, and once again, you know, not to be disrespectful of the dead, but like, why are all the beans having no pants? Why no pants? Like, Okay, and also, like, one last thing as he gets this phone call from the Shadow Agency. This is not the weirdest design for a phone, like, in-universe phones that I've seen. Monster High had, like, the weird, like, coffin phones, which were cool, you know, but also, like, how would videos play? And the iCarly pair phones are, like, the same thing. Like, obviously, it's supposed to, like, rip off of the Apple thing, but also you guys know, like, video formatting doesn't work like that. Like, how would you even format a video to fit into those things? Like, how would you see things well? So at least this one looks like marginally less bad. This one seems like marginally less bad, but I just like needed to like bring that up because it's something that always frustrates and annoys me a lot. So then Killer Bean basically tells the Shadow Agency that he's coming after them, and then he rides off into the night on a stolen armored police vehicle. And I was just like, are you not gonna like try to go incognito now that you have the police and the Shadow Agency after you, and probably maybe the government, because the government employs the Shadow Agency? No, Killer Bean thinks that he's gonna do it all. Okay, maybe he's the real Wonder Bean. I don't know what's I don't know what's happening anymore. But yeah, and that's how, you know, we get the Killer Bean theme song plays for a little bit, and then we are done. And the Bean saga that we watched is over. And oh my god, this movie was just a movie of such movie. I don't really know if it was good, because I don't know. Like, part of it is conceptually more entertaining than the actual plot of it. The action scenes themselves, while thought out, aren't really like epically animated or anything like that, so they don't feel very weighty, especially with nothing like special effects and stuff that like make it so like they're bleeding or something. I don't even know how you would make beans bleed, but I'm not the creative mind behind this concept, right? Still really messed up about like the pants thing. Still like confused about the eggs. I want the egg guy to show up really bad. Where is my egg crime lord? You know what I mean? Like, where's he at? Where did he go? I need him to show up in the next film, hopefully. It's gonna be probably one of my first videos that comes out in 2024. So hopefully this will set the precedent for the grooviness. I am working on right now the Red Hood Death in the Family movie review. It is gonna take a long time because I have a lot of footage to go through and a lot of things to write and a lot of ideas. So that's taking me a while. But I will get through it, I promise. Leave a like and comment and subscribe if you want to see that in the future, or if you liked this video. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. I hope you had a good 2024 so far. Bye!